In this episode, we continue our journey on the island of Pag and make a short stop in the most beautiful national park in Croatia, and according to many, in Europe, the Plitvička Lakes. Then we will continue our journey towards Rijeka and Opatija, hoping to avoid the storm in the Velebit Channel. Anchors away! Novalja has a long, turbulent, and interesting past, as evidenced by numerous archaeological finds in various localities in the city and its surroundings. Among them, 3 early Christian basilicas from the 4th and 5th centuries stand out, and the remains of the floor mosaic of one of them can be found inside the Gothic Church of Our Lady of the Rosary, in the center of the city and in the courtyard behind it. The town of Novalja has become the center of tourism on the island of Pag and mainly attracts younger people from all over the world. In the City Museum in Novalja, there is an entrance to the underground water supply from ancient times, which in the past supplied Novalja with water from Novalja Field. It was built in the 1st century BC. It is 1,042 meters long and is entirely carved in stone. Visitors can see about 150 meters of it. There are also some remains from antiquity in the museum. In the Novalja area, there are a number of interesting bays and beaches, of which we will highlight Babe Beach, which is located in a shallow bay west of Novalja. This is the shallowest and warmest among the Novalja beaches, with fine sand and a narrow coastal strip. In recent years, the beach has become enriched with catering and recreational facilities. One part of the beach is reserved for pets, so they can cool off in the sea together with their owners. Other beaches will also captivate with their natural beauty and special features, and we definitely recommend that you try them all and choose the one that best suits your preferences. Certainly the most famous beach on the island of Pag is the Bay of Zrče. It is a large bay near Novalja on the northeastern part of the island. The beach is pebbly and is known worldwide as a paradise for young partygoers looking for good fun. There are several excellent clubs on the beach where dancing and entertainment lasts all day until late in the evening. There are plenty of other activities on offer, including bungee jumping for the bravest. It can be very crowded here in the summer, and it's important to have a sculpted body and be decked out in the latest fashion accessories because this place is where you come to see and be seen. In addition to crazy parties and excellent beaches, Novalja is also known for its excellent gastronomy. The combination of ingredients from the island and the rest of Croatia is a great opportunity to try out creativity and the combination of various tastes. So it's no wonder that one of the more famous restaurants has a prestigious Michelin star, a top recommendation in the world of haute gastronomy. Along with excellent dishes, excellent local wine is also produced here. The well-known and highly acclaimed Pag cheese is also produced in Novalja. In the latest episode, we explained why the cheese from the island of Pag is so special, and in case you missed it, it is primarily due to the way the sheep are kept and fed. The island of Pag is specific in that it has very little grass, which is very salty due to the salt and brine blown by the storms. The sheep that graze on the grass and aromatic plants like immortella, sage, and sedum give a special type of milk. Action and adrenaline junkies will find their ideal place precisely in Novalja, which is known for its adrenaline and water sports, cycling, trail, and trekking paths, and especially kayaking, which is ideal for exploring and discovering the sights of Paška Bay and the Velebit Channel from a completely new perspective. Plitvice Lakes is the largest, oldest, and most visited Croatian national park. It is a wooded mountain region where there are 16 lakes of different sizes, filled with crystal blue-green water. The lakes get their water from numerous rivers and streams and are connected to each other by cascades and waterfalls. Travertine barriers, which were created over a period of 10,000 years, are one of the fundamental features of the park. The special geographical location and the specific climatic features have contributed to the emergence of many natural phenomena and rich biological diversity. Spacious forests, exceptionally beautiful lakes and waterfalls, a wealth of flora and fauna, the mountain air, a contrast of autumn colors, forest paths and wooden bridges, and much more are all part of a unique whole that was also declared a World Natural Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1979, among the first in the world. The sedimentation process, which forms travertine barriers and creates lakes, represents part of the unique universal value, which is why the Plitvice Lakes were included in the UNESCO World Natural Heritage List. The growth of travertine barriers raises the water level and changes the volume of water in the lakes. Travertine barriers in today's waterways are still active and, with their biodynamics, constantly change the appearance of the lakes and waterfalls. In addition to beautiful lakes and flora, visitors to the park can also enjoy numerous species of animals and birds. 50 species of mammals and 17 species of birds have been recorded in the park. The presence of large animals, bears, wolves, lynxes, and otters, also strictly protected and globally endangered species, attests to the quality and the preservation of these habitats. Forest habitats for bears, wolves, and lynxes, and water habitats for otters. All these species like quiet and secluded areas that provide them with sufficient availability of prey, shelter for daily rest, and especially shelter for raising their young. For easier movement in the lake area, visitors entering the park at Entrance 1 are given the option of choosing between 4 tour programs marked in green on the information boards. The 4 programs that start at Entrance 2 are marked in orange. There are electric boats on Lake Kozjak and visitor trains in the park. For both, you need to have a valid ticket for the national park. In Plitvice Lakes National Park, rowing is allowed on the largest lake, Kozjak. Wooden rowing boats can be rented during the warmer part of the year at the P1 boat dock every day of the week.
Okay, we are doing jibe, so that's turn down the wind. First we gotta go to the position of sailing broad ridge, and then we are going down the wind, turn to the other broad ridge. In the turn, the sails are moving from the one side to the other side. First thing we want to do, if you are doing it single-handed, to trim the main sail to maximum trim the mainsail, because we don't want boom to crash on the other side, because the gooseneck can break. So first thing is to bring mainsail or boom in the middle. Okay, once it's done, we can start with the jibe. Jibe, we are turning down the wind. Jib will go on the other side by itself. Once the sails are full, the jibe is done. Now we can release the mainsail again. And that's it. We made a turn down the wind and the boat sails are on the other side.
The city of Rijeka is the third largest city in Croatia and also the largest Croatian port. In Roman times, the first dwellings were built at the mouth of the Riječina River, and from there the city slowly took on its shape. On Trsat Hill above Rijeka, there is an exceptional building from the Middle Ages, the Trsat Castle. The medieval fortification is one of the oldest on the Croatian coast and offers a magnificent view of Rijeka and its surroundings. A nice coffee bar and souvenir shop are also within the castle. In the summer months, outdoor exhibitions and concerts are held here. Don't miss a visit to this magnificent building. The most famous street in Rijeka is Korzo. From the early 19th century, it became the lifeblood of the city, and the main part of city life takes place here. Until the end of the 18th century, this place was home to a pebble beach, shipyards, and a town lodge. After the defensive ditch was filled in and the city walls were demolished, buildings and palaces of different styles began to spring up. Today's Korzo is full of people throughout the day, and many important city institutions are located on it. In the middle of Korzo is the city tower with a clock, a favorite meeting place for the people of Rijeka. Another interesting tower is the Leaning Tower, the bell tower of the Church of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. It was built in the 14th century, and over time, as the ground settled, it has tilted, which is visible to the naked eye. The Cathedral of St. Vede is the most important church in Rijeka. It was built on the site of a smaller church in the 18th century. A beautifully decorated square houses the building of the Croatian National Theatre, which was opened in 1885, and where some of the world's most famous opera singers performed. The theater is named after Ivan Zajc, one of the greatest composers and conductors in Croatian history. It's interesting that the music from his opera Nikola Šubić Zrinski is the anthem of the Chilean Navy. Another interesting fact about Rijeka is that the first torpedo was designed and made in Rijeka in 1860. It was designed and built by Ivan Lupis, a sea captain, and Robert Whitehead, an English engineer. Ironically, they called it the savior of the coast. As part of the European Capital of Culture program, a former administrative building of an old factory, which began its life in the middle of the 18th century as a sugar refinery, has become a museum space that, in its permanent exhibition, celebrates and represents the turbulent history of Rijeka, but also the interesting history of the Benčić complex, in which, over the centuries, there was also a tobacco factory in addition to the sugar factory, and ultimately became the Rikard Benčić Motor Equipment Factory and Foundry. The Museum of the City of Rijeka and the restored Sugar Factory Palace presents important topics from Rijeka's history, such as the first torpedo in the world, the Naval Academy, Rijeka as an emigrant port, World War II and post-war reconstruction, theater history, Rijeka skyscrapers, music, Rijeka's rock and roll scene, and the history of Rijeka's large companies. The exhibition covers the history of Rijeka from the 18th to the 21st century, from the moment the city became a free royal port in 1719, which gave it the opportunity for unprecedented development. One of the most recognizable symbols of the city of Rijeka is the large 1,707-meter-long breakwater in the port, which the people of Rijeka call Molo Longo, precisely because of its imposing size. Rijeka is a vibrant city and has a lot to offer its visitors throughout the year. Whether you want to enjoy the sun and the sea on Rijeka's beaches, take a walk along the Corso and see the city, enjoy numerous interesting museums and exhibitions, or simply indulge in the charms of local and modern gastronomy and local craft beers. If you need to change your currency to kunas, all you have to do is visit the nearest post office. Almost every one of the 1,016 post offices across Croatia, including the islands, features currency exchange services. From September of this year, post offices will become the central locations for free exchange of Croatian kunas into euros, before Croatia switches to the euro in January of 2023.
Nova AC Marina Rijeka gradit će se na prostoru od gotovo 106.000 četvornih metara i u nju će se uložiti preko 50 milijuna eura. Uložit će firma ACI Gitone, čiji su suvlasnici 50% ACI kao najveći lanac marina na Mediteranu i 50% Gitone Kvarner, čiji je osnivač Lursen grupacija, najpoznatija po izgradnji velikih mega jahti. Marina će imati morski dio i kopneni dio, moći će primiti oko 230 plovila i planirani završetak gradnje morskog dijela je u 2024. godini, dok je planirani završetak gradnje kompletne marine, znači i morskog i kopnenog dijela, u 2025. godini. Prostor ACI marine bit će pravi mali raj za nautičare, gdje ćemo paziti na svaki detalj i mogu sada sa sigurnošću reći da će usluga biti vrhunska, da će buduća marina biti marina sa 5 sidara, a u sustavu ACI marina još 2 marine imaju kvalitetu usluge na 5 sidara, a to su ACI marina Cres i ACI marina Rovinj. Na kopnenom dijelu marine bit će izgrađene nove zgrade koje će sadržavati komercijalni sadržaj, parkirna mjesta i uslužne djelatnosti. Na jednoj od zgrada bit će veliki lounge bar na krovu sa preljevnim bazenom. Pružat će se prekrasan pogled kako na grad Rijeku, tako i na buduću marinu, a i na cijeli Kvarnerski zaljev. Duž cijele marine biti će šetnica širine 5 metara sa drvoredom, koja će biti prilagođena dostupnosti slabije pokretnih i nepokretnih osoba, o čemu ACI mogu reći da jako brine. Buduća marina biti će zelena i digitalna, bit će pokrivana fotonaponskim ćelijama i u samoj marini biti će punionice kako za električne automobile, tako i za električna plovila.
3D mapping of the entire underwater and above sea level area of Porto Baros has already been carried out as one of the first steps towards the introduction of autonomous navigation in marinas. In the future, vessel users could already know exactly which berth they will be moored to, and with the help of the autonomous navigation system, the vessel could just sail into the marina and arrive at a certain berth. Vessels would be automatically recognized by the system, and they would have access to all the necessary information before sailing into port. On the eastern coast of the Istrian Peninsula, at the foot of Mount Učka, there is a real tourist gem, Opatija. Opatija developed around the Benedictine Abbey of St. Jakov, and it was mentioned for the first time in 1449. It is assumed that this is why it got its current name. Intensive growth and development of Opatija begins under the patronage of Austria-Hungary. The director of the company Southern Railways chose Opatija as the most promising destination for passenger traffic to the south. Soon, Opatija was connected to Vienna by railway, and there were no longer any obstacles to its explosive growth. Hotels, swimming pools, a climatic health resort, a pavilion with an indoor swimming pool with heated seawater, a swimming pool with changing cabins, and one of today's most famous symbols of Opatija, the Lungomare Promenade, were being built during this time. The 12 kilometers long promenade stretches from Voloskot to Lovran. The first hotel was opened in 1884 and offered guests 60 luxurious rooms. The construction of luxurious villas and summer houses, which today are a real treat for the eyes of visitors to Opatija, also began during this time. In the center is the Park of St. Jakov with more than 150 plant species. The area in front of Villa Angiolina is perhaps the most beautiful part of the park. In this part, there are plants brought from the Far East, South America, Australia, and other parts of the world. The Lungomare Promenade is a favorite among visitors to Opatija. A walk along the coastal road, undisturbed by traffic, is a real escape from stress and everyday worries. The promenade was completed in 1889 when Opatija was declared a climatic health resort. Along the route, memorials were erected to famous personalities who stayed in Opatija. Writer Henryk Sienkiewicz, Dr. Theodor Billroth, General Josef Pilsudski, and others. One of the most recognizable symbols of Opatija is certainly the sculpture of the girl with the seagull. It is located on a cliff with a beautiful view of Opatija. Along the Opatija Riviera rises Mount Učka, which was declared a nature park in 1999. The proximity to the sea favors a specific climate and lush vegetation up to the peak areas. The Poklon Visitor Center is the new main destination for all visitors to Učka Nature Park. The main role of the center is, through education and multimedia experience, to raise awareness about the importance of nature and the need for its active protection. The 1,200 square meter space contains interpretation, educational, tourist, conference, and office facilities. The centerpiece of the center is a multimedia interpretation display in which, in a modern and interactive way, the natural, cultural, and historical values of Učka Nature Park and the surrounding area are presented, with an emphasis on the need for its protection and preservation. The content is divided into thematic units: in the mountain, home, fascination, inspiration, and from the top of Učka. The units show the natural, cultural, and historical richness of Učka in a fun and educational way, which makes them interesting for all ages. Opatija is the culinary jewel of this area. Numerous restaurants offer interesting recipes with fresh ingredients. And numerous festivals are held regularly in honor of delicious delicacies and quality food. Some of the best restaurants in Croatia are located in Opatija. Top restaurants and traditional taverns that always offer fresh local foods and extensive wine lists complete the experience of this beautiful city for all visitors. Lovers of good food and drink, especially those on their own vessels, will find their new place in a nearby hotel that has its own dock for receiving ships and a top-quality restaurant where you can enjoy fine cuisine. This restaurant is recommended by the prestigious Michelin Guide. more proof of its excellent quality. In the next episode, we will continue our journey through Kvarner, but this time we'll sail around the islands of Rab, Lošinj, and Cres in search of the best gin on the Adriatic. We wish you everything is shipshape and Bristol fashion.